Audacity 3.5.0. Forget it? It's been rather quiet on the Audacity front for a while now, but that's all changed. Audacity 3.5.0 has been released. We'll find out what it means and whether you should upgrade in this edition of Stuart's Audacity Tips. Did you know it costs less to forward this email than it does to get a cup of coffee? Of course you did. Who am I fooling? No matter. You can still do it without leaving your chair. So, I was getting ready to send out a new SAT, lamenting how not much had been going on in Audacity land for a while, and revisiting one of my old topics. That plan changed this morning when I started getting messages about Audacity 3.5 problems. Oi. First, let's rehash a couple of my past tidbits. Of course, first is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Always resist the urge to upgrade any software just because there's a new version available. This is particularly difficult with Audacity since versions after 3.0 give you a notice whenever a new version is available. It's important to ignore that notice. Don't give in to temptation. You may have read elsewhere that it's always best to keep your computer up to date for security reasons. While that's good advice for things like system software, Mac OS, Windows, Linux, it's not always the case when it comes to application software like Audacity. Next, a quick refresher on what Audacity version numbers mean. Audacity versions are expressed in 3 segments, separated by dots. They are Major, Feature, and Bug Fix, from left to right. Here's what each one means. Major means big changes under the hood, like when Audacity changed from the old .aup project files to the new .aup3 project files. That happened when 2.4.2 was superseded by 3.0.0. Feature, something about the way Audacity looks or works has been changed, or features have been added or removed. This happened when Audacity 3.3.3 was superseded by 3.4.0, and the whole export experience changed. Bug fix. These are the only Audacity upgrades that I think it's okay to install without full investigation, mostly. If the development team sticks to their version numbering convention, then the only changes from, say, 3.4.1 to 3.4.2 should be bug fixes. With that said, it's very easy for a development team to allow a feature change to slip into a release that should be bug fixes according to the version number. So it's always caveat user. And so we come to 3.5.0. Since its predecessor is 3.4.2, we know this is a feature release. Most of the new features in this release are aimed at music producers, for example, speed and pitch indicators and tempo detection. The most obvious change in the interface is the ability to save projects directly to audio.io, the Audacity team's cloud-based storage service. When you first do a file export, you'll see this rather impressive dialog box. If you click the little checkbox in the lower left corner before making your choice, you won't see this dialog again. Once you've chosen Export to Computer, you'll see the same export dialog from 3.4.2. Unfortunately, the export selection option has not been restored as a standalone feature or macro command yet, so you have to use the current selection checkbox on the export dialog to accomplish that task, and you can't include it in a macro. I'm still waiting for that item to come off the requested items list. Another change is one that my eyes don't like very much. The mouse cursors for grabbing the left and right edges of a selection have changed from pointing finger to little icons that look like pipes and triangles, as shown in these screenshots comparing them with the original style. And finally, at least in terms of available space for this edition, there's a new bug that takes 3.5.0 right out of the game for me. If you've recorded several tracks and the last one is near the bottom edge of the window, when you start recording on a new track below that one, the window doesn't scroll up to put the new track entirely in the window, as previous versions of Audacity did. You're stuck with recording on a track you can't see, until you do some manual fiddling with the window. This is a deal breaker for long-form narrators who have highly tuned workflows. Here are a couple of shots showing how it used to work, and how it works in 3.5.0. So the bottom line is, I can't recommend 3.5.0 for VO work. Stick with the version you have, assuming it's working for you. Hopefully 3.5.1 will fix some things. Usually the first bug fix release follows not long after a feature release. In other news, all the SAT write-ups are coming out in video format on YouTube. The first 30 videos going back to the very beginning of Stuart's Audacity tips are available. New videos will be regularly produced until we catch them up with the written tips. Join the fun, subscribe, share, etc. at this channel. I'm Stuart. Hope this helps.
Just then.
Well, it's 4 hours since I sent out my newsletter about Audacity 3.5.0, and already the Audacity team has released 3.5.1. As you know from that newsletter, 3.5.1 is a bug fix release because the last number is the one that changed from the previous version. Unfortunately, the new track goes below the bottom of the window bug is not one of the ones addressed in 3.5.1. So, at least for now, don't upgrade. We'll see what 3.5.2 brings. I'm Stuart. Hope this helps.